Okay, guys, it is Tuesday. It's time for On the Clock, daily college basketball free pick show here on WagerTalk YouTube channel. And it's also $5 Tuesday, where you can get my 4% top-rated college basketball play for just $5. Loyola was a loser yesterday, but we've hit 2 of the last 3 of these since Friday. 4% top-rated college basketball plays. I've got another one tonight, and it's only $5 instead of $25 on WagerTalk for $5 Tuesday. It is $5 Tuesday all day at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. Every handicapper has a $5 play. So check mine out and check everyone's out. It's the best day of the week to buy from the site. Just $5 for the best bets from each handicapper. Okay, we're going to get into 4 different plays here. That's what I've settled on the format of this show, 4 free picks. The occasional client pick, I don't know if we have one for today, but one that's sort of close on my list will be our marquee matchup of the day. And that is Alabama Ole Miss. I did a video for this one on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. So there's a detailed video for this one. But we'll do the 90-second version right here. And basically, I just picked the marquee matchup. There's quite a few of them. I picked the marquee matchup that I've got the biggest opinion on, and that's this one with Ole Miss plus the points. I've got this number 8.4. So I'm about 3 points off of what the spread for this game is right now at 11.5. I think, the fact that Alabama has covered 5 straight and has done it in convincing fashion and has done it on the national stage has them a little bit inflated in the market. And, just let's be honest, Alabama at home, you've been paying a premium to back Alabama at home for years. So, that's another reason that you're seeing, Alabama laying a healthy number like this against a really good Ole Miss team. Another reason is they score 91.1 points per game. That's number 1 in the country. But it really comes from a shot volume standpoint because this isn't the most efficient offense out there. 260th from 3-point range. That is a concerning number to me in this matchup because I do think Ole Miss has the right sort of mix to slow this game down and put Alabama into some scenarios where they have to shoot the 3. Ole Miss plays a tempo outside the top 200. They don't turn the ball over. They're 8th nationally in turnovers, but they will force turnovers. And that's sort of the mix you need to beat Alabama because the way Alabama wants to score is the 3-point shot, cleaning up a miss. Alabama's 3rd nationally in rebounding. But more importantly, Alabama wants to lean into their number 1 pace and tempo and beat you up and down the floor. A way to limit that is quality defense, contesting that 3-point shot, but also limiting turnovers. And that's what Ole Miss does. It's a veteran Ole Miss team, one of the top 5 oldest teams in the country. I don't think they're going to be shook going into Tuscaloosa like some other teams are. I think Ole Miss hangs around here. I actually think this plays out a lot like the Texas-Alabama game in that 6 to 8 point range. I think 11.5 is good, and I expect Ole Miss to cover that number. Okay. On to total of the day. I thought we had a total of the day winner yesterday, easily. It looked like Rutgers UCLA was headed for an easy under, and we ran into the dreaded extension at the end of the game where Rutgers had a 5-point lead, and there was UCLA made a couple threes. Suddenly, Rutgers has to seal it from the free throw line, and it turned what looked like it was going to be an easy under into an over to cost total of the day. Although this section's been great. These have been hitting, and we're going to go to the Big East to try to hit another one tonight between Providence and Creighton. I like this one under the total. I think this number is too high. I think this number is inflated by a couple of recent performances for these two teams. But, Creighton, I feel like Creighton needs to hit the 3-point shot and needs to have a good jump shooting game to go over the totals that are out there for Creighton games. And I just don't know that you're going to get that against Providence. This is a team that doesn't give up a ton of 3-point attempts. They don't give up a large percentage of 3-point makes. And I think they've got the athletic guards to give Creighton some trouble on the perimeter. Now, Creighton's got the ability to counter that with Ryan Kalkbrenner. I think Kalkbrenner is going to have a huge game here. I think he matches up well with Providence's interior defense. Remember, Bryce Hopkins probably done for the year. He hasn't really played at all this year. I think he's played 3 games. So I think Kalkbrenner has a big game, but it's going to take some effort. It's going to take some longer possessions, some pick and roll to get him open and get him to the rim. Not exactly conducive to playing over. On the other side, I think you forget what a good defensive team Creighton is at times. and the fact that Kalkbrenner can really, alter shots at the rim. Kim English has had to kind of go more to one-on-one ISO type play because his team just turns the ball over so much. They don't move the ball well at all. So I think Providence has sort of settled on this like more one-on-one oriented offense recently, as opposed to, kind of like the ball movement, which was giving them turnover trouble earlier in the year. The moral of the story here is I think both teams are going to have to work for their points. I don't think this is just going to be back and forth, quick basket after quick basket. And for that reason, I think this one plays under what I do consider to be an inflated total. We'll say under Providence Creighton for total of the day. All right, boots on the ground. I've got my Kent State hoodie on here. Shout out to Kent State, the first place that ever gave me a media credential a couple of years back. Super nice people there. Shout out to DJ Smills, as good of an in-house DJ as you're going to find in college basketball. He kills it every night at every Kent State game. This will be in the Mack Center, where I went and had a few golden lagers with Brian Power a couple of years back. Had a blast. Great venue for college basketball. But we're going to lean on BP's regional knowledge of Ohio here a little bit to start this handicap. Kent State, one of the better atmospheres in the MAC conference, but BP makes a good point. Kent State home game against Ohio, against Akron, against Toledo is a little bit different than against a Western Michigan or a Central Michigan or a Northern Illinois. They're not that they don't have a really good atmosphere regardless, but there's a little less juice when it's last place Western Michigan coming to town, as opposed to one of the regional proximity, like very close, Ohio schools, like Akron's like 20 minutes away. Toledo's also in the Cleveland area. So I almost always downgrade Kent State's home court just a tiny bit when they play, a team like Western Michigan, especially when it's a Western Michigan team that's not very good. 3-12 on the year. But what's absolutely shocking to me is this team has not won a game since Chancey Willis has come back. He missed the first 8 games, but they're 0-7 since he returned, despite the fact that he's now the leading scorer on the team as expected with 15.3 points per game. I think, one of those losses is the Valpo loss, a game they led by like 22 with 6 minutes to play. Western Michigan's a terribly coached team, in my opinion, but they have talent, especially with Willis on the floor, and they've been decent as a big underdog. They won outright as a 10-point dog against Youngstown State. They covered huge numbers against Dayton and Michigan State. They did not cover over the weekend against Miami of Ohio, and I'm glad that I didn't fire that because I was really close to taking Western Michigan over the weekend against Miami of Ohio. Ended up losing the game by 20. I feel like the number's about what I'd make it, but my handicap and my gut say Western Michigan plus the point to make this a more competitive game than the odds makers suggest is the right side. I think they're kind of due to cover one. And Kent State, this just isn't the elite Kent State teams from a couple of years back. Kent State still has a good team. They're not elite, but they're laying a premium number right here, and I would be willing to go against that. So Western Michigan, we'll call it 12.5. I believe is what the market is as time of recording here. It is something I gave a strong look at for Tuesday. That brings us to the poll play. Looks like so we did directional schools for the poll play. You actually got one of them. No one voted for that Kent State Western Michigan game, but I decided it was going to have to fit boots on the ground anyway. So the game that won the poll, North Texas, East Carolina, very interesting game here to me. Shout out to Justin Perry. Thank you for commenting. He said this is really like a fascinating matchup. And I agree with that. This is a very intriguing matchup, as has like anytime North Texas plays is kind of an intriguing matchup because of the way they play. I got to see this team play down at High Point last month, and I want to go against them here. I like East Carolina plus the points. Did not make my client card yet, but it certainly caught my eye that they were, I kind of was hoping they would get a couple more. I was hoping to see like a 5.5 or something like that, because North Texas does get market respect. But I think the odds makers got it about right with the number. That being said, I think ECU has the right makeup to give North Texas trouble. The reason is ECU is able to defend without fouling. They only foul, they're averaging 16 fouls per game. For a frame of reference, Creighton leads the country by a mile, 10.7 fouls per game. Creighton just doesn't foul when they're playing defense. The next best team, Central Connecticut State, with 12. So 16 is a pretty good mark. I believe it puts them top 80 in the country in that metric. And North Texas really relies on getting to the foul line to score points. Their offense is one thing that hasn't really impressed me. It's very one-on-one oriented. They don't move the ball a ton. It really is, almost attrition in a lot of cases where they're going to work their tails off to try to get to the foul line, to try to get in the paint and get to the hoop. But the kind of the goal when they get in there is to kick and try to find like a somewhat open three, which to their credit, they've been pretty good at hitting the 3-point shot. But I think if you can take away one of those two things, the 3-point shot or the ability to just score with the clock stopped at the free throw line, you've got a pretty good chance to beat North Texas. And I think East Carolina does both of those things well. So my lean ECU plus the points in that game. That's 4 free picks for you today. If you want my 4% top-rated college basketball play, that's over at WagerTalk, and it's only $5 since it's $5 Tuesday. So check that out. We will see you guys back here for more free picks in college basketball tomorrow morning. Good luck. Cash all your tickets. See you guys tomorrow.